The unfolding story centers around Archie Bunker, a stubborn, opinionated man whose worldview is deeply rooted in traditional values and cultural bias. The opening scenes show an attempt at domestic kindness. Edith, cheerful and eager to please, prepares brunch for Archie while singing whimsical tunes like Zip-a-Dee-Doo, radiating her naive optimism. Stephanie sits at the table working on homework about Asia, triggering a comedic yet revealing argument. Archie dismisses Asia as some dopey little country and lumps it together with communist stereotypes, while Stephanie corrects him by saying, "It's a continent." Edith timidly agrees. This small exchange highlights Archie's ignorance, Stephanie's intelligence, and Edith's gentle diplomacy. Soon, Archie rushes off to his bar with Harry because they urgently need a new waitress after Boom Boom, their previous flirtatious employee, left to reunite with her ex-convict boyfriend. At the bar, comedic misunderstandings erupt when the new applicant Denise arrives. Archie and Denise recognize each other from the past, their awkward tension hinting at a romantic memory, something that almost happened but didn't. Denise gently teases Archie about the night in question, while Archie stammers in embarrassment. Harry, oblivious, stands nearby, offering commentary that worsens the tension. The dynamic between Archie and Denise is carefully balanced flirtation, without betrayal, nostalgia, without regret. Later, Edith arrives unexpectedly, and her interaction with Denise reveals innocence and trust. Edith is unfazed by the idea that her husband once danced with Denise and even kissed her twice. Her loyalty and simplicity disarm jealousy. Ultimately, Denise decides to quit, believing staying would create unnecessary emotional complications. Archie lies to Edith, claiming he fired Denise because she was too infatuated with him, reinforcing his macho persona. As the setting shifts into the holiday season, Christmas decorations and frivolity contrast with Archie's cynicism. He complains about the commercialization of the season, muggers on the streets, and groping professionals on the subway. At the bar, a Santa Claus appears collecting charity money. The regulars question his legitimacy, but ultimately give small donations. Moments later, Archie discovers counterfeit $10 bills in the cash register. Panic rises as they realize they've been repeatedly given fake money. Suspicion falls on Mr. Van Rensselaer, the blind patron. Archie tests him by mixing fake and real bills, but comedic confusion ensues when he realizes there are already multiple counterfeit bills circulating. Tension peaks when Edith, while shopping for underwear for Archie, unknowingly pays with one of those fake bills and gets detained by police. The arrest scene mixes comedy and suspense as Edith nervously references crime TV shows and refuses to incriminate her husband. Archie rushes to the police station and presents several forms of identification, even one card with the wrong name, further confusing officers. They release Edith, but ask Archie to remain vigilant because the counterfeiter is still operating locally. Back at the bar, as more fake bills appear, Archie locks the door, determined to identify the culprit. Suspense builds until Mr. Van Rensselaer reveals through keen hearing who used a $10 bill most recently. The culprit is surprisingly Santa Claus, who confesses his uncle left him counterfeit money as his inheritance. He lost his job and insurance, so he resorted to passing the fake bills out of desperation. The bar patrons soften moved by the tragic backstory and choose compassion over punishment. However, humor returns abruptly when Santa drives away in a luxurious 1979 Cadillac, raising doubts about everything they just believed. Archie is left stunned, questioning his own generosity. Transitioning to the Bunker home, Edith expresses excitement about Gloria Michael and baby Joey returning from California for Christmas, while Archie grumbles. He mocks California for its earthquakes, fires, floods, nude swimming, and hot bubbling jacuzzi hands under the water. News arrives, Gloria calls and announces they will not come because Michael's back went out. Archie suspects they've succumbed to Hollywood decadence. Edith refuses to accept disappointment and decides they should fly to California instead. After comedic negotiations, heavy packing, and endless last-minute bathroom trips, they leave dragging a frozen turkey, which Archie considers humiliating to carry on the plane. Stephanie initially refuses to travel, but Archie manipulates her into fear by referencing a mysterious attic door she must keep locked if left alone. Panicked, she chooses the trip. On the plane, chaos continues. The turkey attracts, stares Stephanie, wanders off, and Archie pushes through crowds, complaining loudly. When they reach the California airport, they finally reunite with Gloria, who looks exhausted from smog. She directs them to a small yellow Toyota hatchback she recently learned to drive. They arrive at her home, where Archie disapproves of warm Christmas weather palm trees and neighbors lounging under sunshine. He claims Christmas should be cold, snowy, and nostalgic. Stephanie and Joey bond warmly, while Edith admires everything with wide-eyed excitement. Archie, however, insults the patio by calling it a back porch with no roof. Sleeping arrangements escalate into conflict. Archie refuses to sleep on the sofa bed, calling it a coffin. Michael debates sleeping locations with Gloria, caught between politeness and pride. Their tension becomes obvious. Late at night, Archie bumps into a glass door, complaining that butterflies on glass should be replaced by skulls and crossbones. Again, humor masks discomfort. Later, Michael and Gloria argue privately. Their marriage is unraveling. Gloria confesses profound loneliness. When Michael socialized academically, she felt invisible. She fell into cycles of binge-eating frozen cheesecake, becoming symbolic comfort. Michael counters that he pursued academic opportunities to secure their future. Gloria accuses him of charm in public and disregard at home. Their argument crescendos until Gloria slaps Michael, then flees to Edith, emotionally shattered. Edith learns the devastating truth: Gloria and Michael are separated. They consider divorce. She collapses into fainting spells repeatedly, each faint triggered by further revelation. Gloria confesses more. She formed a bond with another man, Bud Krieger, who made her feel visible and valued. Edith panics, searching for aspirin, struggling to breathe. Gloria frantically comforts her, realizing the emotional damage of the confession. In the morning, Archie learns about the separation. He storms into rooms, yelling threatening violence, insisting Michael cheated. When he learns Gloria was the one who saw another man, his outrage expands. He calls it a betrayal of commandments. Michael tries to argue that relationships involve emotional dimensions Archie cannot see. Archie dismisses everything he doesn't understand as immoral or foolish. Edith, ironically, the gentlest character, pushes back against Archie's absolutism, arguing that couples can hurt each other and still love one another. The most emotionally powerful moment emerges when Edith asks both separately if they still love each other. Gloria refuses to answer in front of Archie. Michael admits confusion. Archie, initially furious, quiets. The room becomes silent, heavy with possibility. Edith suggests the purpose of family is not to prevent injury, but to survive it. Christmas morning arrives. Despite tension, children open gifts joyfully. Stephanie receives a doll. Joey rides an excited new toy. Archie and Michael awkwardly exchange electric razors, the same gift chosen independently, a comedic symbol showing they are more alike than they admit. Through humor, heartbreak, and cultural contrast, the narrative builds toward a subtle reconciliation. Gloria and Michael agree to attempt repair, acknowledging their failures. The California visit becomes symbolic transformation. Warm breezes soften frozen emotional barriers. When Archie returns home, he stands in his living room before the Christmas tree, acknowledging privately that although those were the days today, flawed, complicated, and unfinished, is still worth holding on to. As the California visit stretches into the next day, the emotional palette of the household becomes more complex. Archie wakes early, groaning from the aches of sleeping on the sofa bed. He complains loudly to Edith that the bed feels like a metal basket with cotton decorations, but his dramatic statements only amuse her. She softly replies that discomfort is temporary, but family closeness is not. Archie grumbles that closeness sometimes feels like punishment. Edith hugs him anyway. At breakfast, the tension between Gloria and Michael lingers quietly. They sit across from each other, exchanging polite phrases that fail to mask emotional fatigue. Gloria avoids eye contact, pouring cereal mechanically. Michael forces a smile, cracking awkward jokes that fall to the table with lifeless thuds. Stephanie looks back and forth between them, her brows furrowed. Children sense emotional fractures without explanation. Edith places her hand over Stephanie's and assures her in a whisper that families argue sometimes. Stephanie nods, though confusion remains. Archie wanders outside toward the patio again. The morning sun casts long shadows across the fence, and there is a gentle hum of neighbors watering plants. He shakes his head, bewildered by the idea of wearing short sleeves during Christmas season. He mutters about global warming before the term exists, although he frames it as the sun going crazy. The comfortable weather unsettles him because tradition is cold. His entire identity rests on familiarity, on frost, on snow, on Union halls back in New York, and the simplicity of old holidays where roles were clear authority, unquestioned, and marriage unchallenged. He stands quietly for a moment, gazing at a lemon hanging low enough to pluck. He touches it absent-mindedly, his hardened exterior softening at its tangible simplicity. Then he returns inside, shouting about fruit trauma just to hide the tenderness he nearly expressed. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Edith and Gloria talk softly as they prepare coffee. Gloria apologizes, again explaining that she didn't intend to break vows. She simply crumbled under invisible weight. Edith gently corrects her vows can bend without breaking, but only if both try to hold them. Edith's words echo like prayer. Later, Michael sits alone in Joey's small bedroom, staring at a picture taped to the wall, a simple crayon drawing of a family holding hands. Joey's stick figure representation of his parents stands side by side smiling. Michael feels guilt catch in his throat. His intellectual mind recognizes relational dynamics, but his emotional heart often fails to respond. Becoming a father multiplied his responsibilities, but fear of inadequacy turned him away from home rather than toward it. He clenches his fist, gently promising himself change. When Gloria enters the room to get clothes from a drawer, the two lock eyes awkwardly. Neither speaks immediately. Silence stretches like pulled fabric, taut and vulnerable. Finally, Gloria says she is willing to attend therapy, but only if Michael listens without defensiveness. Michael agrees and adds that he wants to rediscover what made them laugh together. Their shoulders relax slightly. In the living room, Archie decides he needs a man-to-man talk with Michael. He corners him near the sofa bed and launches into a rant about responsibility. He frames marriage as a contract like union labor full of rules and obligations. Michael interrupts, gently explaining that emotional labor matters too. Archie scoffs, insisting emotional stuff is just soap opera mush. Their argument escalates until Edith intervenes, placing her hand on Archie's arm and reminding him not to speak as though he invented marriage. Archie, caught off guard, quiets immediately. Her gentle voice is the only thing stronger than his booming one. To diffuse tension, the group decides to run errands and shop for fresh produce. At the grocery store, Archie complains about avocado prices, suspects the cashier of overcharging, and interrogates someone wearing sunglasses indoors. But shuffled between his rants, he watches Gloria choose cereal Joey likes, sees the small smiles exchanged between mother and son, hears Michael ask softly if she needs help carrying bags, and observes subtle tenderness resurfacing. Sometimes relationships heal in aisles between fruit bins. Back home, while preparing lunch, Gloria and Michael accidentally bump shoulders while reaching for plates. The contact is brief but loaded with memory. They pause. Neither pulls away immediately. Their eyes meet, then both blush faintly. They turn to their tasks quietly, but something clicks back into place like puzzle pieces realigning. Afternoon sunlight spills into the living room as Archie naps on the sofa bed, snoring loudly. Edith sits beside him, knitting, watching him sleep. She smiles, appreciating even his flaws. She whispers softly, "He's goofy, but he's mine," and resumes knitting. Her loyalty is not blind obedience, it's patient choice. She learned over time that love is not always exciting, sometimes just steady. Later, Archie wakes and joins Joey on the patio. Joey asks why the sky is so blue in California. Without sarcasm, Archie answers, saying maybe God spilled extra paint on this coast. Joey laughs. Archie grins unexpectedly. Children soften armor. Archie asks Joey what he wants for lunch, and Joey says beer, imitating an earlier joke. Archie gasps dramatically, insisting he didn't teach him that, then secretly laughs. As evening arrives again, dinner becomes lively. They play charades poorly at first, but laughter grows contagious. The walls of tension crumble further. Gloria imitates a cow jumping over a moon-shaped cookie, prompting Stephanie to laugh so hard she cries. Michael imitates Archie crossing his arms and yelling nonsense. Even Archie giggles, though he hides it under the pretense of choking on turkey. After dinner, Edith brings out gingerbread nursery rhymes, and Joey points at each character, guessing their names. Archie groans, declaring gingerbread men look like singed Californians. But he eats his cookie anyway. When the children go to bed, the adults sit in the living room. Silence returns, but this time it's comfortable. The fireplace crackles softly. Gloria speaks first, explaining calmly that she wants to rebuild connection deliberately without rushing. Michael apologizes sincerely for not noticing her loneliness. Archie and Edith listen, their hands clasped. In a surprising twist, Archie admits he may not understand all that emotional business, but he does understand regret. He explains in rare vulnerability that he once almost made a mistake long ago, speaking indirectly about Denise. Edith's gentle smile shows she already knew. Gloria and Michael both absorb his confession. Archie says what matters most is whether you go home afterward. Symbolically, they are home now. The next morning, the family decides to visit a park near the coast, taking advantage of the sunshine. They stroll along a seaside walkway. Joggers pass. Cyclists wave. Archie grumbles about fitness freak cults. But when Gloria sits on a bench near the ocean, Michael sits beside her without prompting. Their knees touch. She doesn't move. He doesn't apologize unnecessarily. They simply exist together. On the grass, Joey and Stephanie fly a small kite. Its red tail dances against the blue sky. The kite becomes a metaphor, fragile but lifted by wind. Relationships can fly when supported, not forced. Later that night, when packing suitcases to return to New York, Edith carefully folds clothes around leftover gingerbread cookies. Stephanie adds seashells collected from the beach. Archie finds one in his pocket and pretends to hate it, then secretly keeps it in his coat. At bedtime, Gloria and Edith sit on the sofa, savoring final conversation. Gloria thanks her mother for listening. Edith responds softly that listening is not passive, it's loving. She places her hand on Gloria's cheek. Gloria's eyes well with tears, acknowledging a truth she hadn't realized: love sometimes hides in silence. The following morning at the airport, emotions peak. The embrace between Gloria and Edith lasts long enough for a security guard to clear his throat awkwardly. Archie tries to keep distance, but eventually hugs Gloria, whispering, "Don't let Hollywood take your head." Gloria laughs, promises she won't. Before boarding, Archie turns to Michael. They share a handshake that evolves reluctantly into a brief hug. Archie mutters, "Just don't make any more boneheaded moves," a sentence containing criticism, compassion, and blessing all at once. Michael nods and thanks him. On the plane ride home, Archie falls asleep, snoring again. Edith leans against him. Stephanie stares out the window at passing clouds, thinking about California sunshine. The quiet hum of the aircraft becomes a soundtrack for reflection. Returning home, the house feels familiar but slightly foreign after newfound perspective. The Christmas tree they left behind still stands, needles drying slightly. Archie sits in his chair. Edith hangs coats. Stephanie runs to check the mysterious attic door just to be sure everything is as they left it. As they settle back into routine, Archie picks up the seashell from his coat pocket, turning it over in his hands. He places it quietly on the mantel. Edith sees the gesture and smiles. They share a silent moment, acknowledging that growth has occurred, even if tradition remains strong. That night, when the house is quiet, Archie stands before the Christmas tree lights, blinking like slow heartbeats. He whispers his nostalgic refrain. Those were the days, but for the first time, it doesn't sound like lament. It sounds like gratitude. He turns off the lights and walks away, not backward toward nostalgia, but forward toward an imperfect future that is still somehow warm.